Hello everybody, it's Gilson with another brand new video. Today we're here doing a brand new video. This suggestion for this video was made by a YouTuber called, well, a channel name or account name called Nighthound Who. So thank you to him for suggesting this one. Today we are going to be counting down the regenerations from worst to best. There are 14 I've counted in total. We're only counting the Doctor's ones because if I try and go back and find other ones, I'll miss out one or whatever. I could do all modern Who ones included, but then, like, it's a bit awkward. Then how do you title that? And then, yeah. So it's the Doctor's Regenerations, and I'm going to be rating them on special effects, scene-wise, post-regen, and after-regen. Like, so it's pre and post. Sorry, post is after. Post and pre-regeneration scenes, last lines, first lines, whatever. So let's just go through slowly. Now, before I start, as with all these lists, I love Doctor Who, so none of these are bad. None of these on this list are bad by any extent, but some I prefer more than others, and that's how this list works. Remember, this is my opinion, not yours, so if you don't agree, doesn't matter, it's fine. Feel free to tell me your list from 14 to 1 in the comments below. Anyway, stop rambling, let's get started. In number 14 we have 7 to 8. Now, this is a bit of a weird one. There isn't much for pre-regeneration scene because the 7th Doctor just gets shot walking out the TARDIS, which is a little bit of a shame and a little bit of a just quick kill off there. The actual regeneration special effect is very, well, the actual regeneration scene is very Americanized in the way it's sort of intercut with scenes from Frankenstein. It's a little bit odd. There's a bit of electricity and a weird sort of Scooby-Doo style morphing of the face until it eventually sits as Paul McGann. It's a bit weird, a bit odd. And the post-regeneration scene is a bit odd as well because he sort of walks around the hospital, which I suppose is quite a cool and modern take on it, but I just didn't like the pre-regeneration scene, and I wasn't so keen on the actual regeneration scene in general, so kind of put me off this one. Number 13, we have 6 to 7. Now, this is sort of infamous. The 6th Doctor didn't really get a proper final scene. He just sort of walked in the TARDIS saying carrot juice, carrot juice, carrot juice, and then the TARDIS got like hit by a laser while it was flying. It landed, and when it landed, he was on the floor. Dead. He didn't really get a final scene, and in fact his final proper words, if you don't include Big Finish, are carrot juice, carrot juice, carrot juice. Now, as much as I'd love to talk about Big Finish and go, oh well, the Big Finish gave it absolute pure justice, they did, but it's not on screen, and it wasn't how it was aired, and I'm going to go basically out of how it was aired, which means I'm not including the Time of the Rani DVD, where it shows a proper full regeneration, opposed to the one we got, because the one we got, Colin Baker didn't want to show up to set because obviously he had a disagreement, and that's why he was told to leave, let's just say. So actually, who regenerated into who? It was actually Sylvester McCoy in a wig regenerating into Sylvester McCoy without a wig. So it's a bit of a weird scene to watch. It's a bit out of place, it's a bit awkward and clunky, but at least it follows in the steps of Regenerations previous in the way it's done, the sort of special effects used. That's why it's higher up than 7 to 8, because 7 to 8 is just so weird and out there. Yeah, not so keen. Number 12. 2nd Doctor to the 3rd Doctor. Now, this is sort of a self-explanatory one. It's creepy, it's cool, it's great, but, like, there's no actual regeneration. He disappears at the end of the War Games, flying in circles, screaming or whatever, and then that's it for Doctor Who until the Spearhead from Space, where John Pertwee just opens the TARDIS and falls on the floor. Now, I'm not counting Devious as much as I'd love to, but it's not canon. If you want to see a proper recreation, I did make one on the channel because I love my special effects. If you want to go back, I might try and put a link to it. If I forget to put a link to it, go on the channel, you'll be able to find it. 2nd Doctor Regeneration Recreation, it's hard to say that. Oh, it's not even called that, it's called Regeneration Remastered. And it pretty much shows a few clips from Devious, a few clips from the War Games, and a little bit of a clip from Spearhead from Space, sort of joining it all together. But pretending that doesn't even exist on my channel, going from the actual original scene, there isn't much to it. The only bit that adds to it is the pre- and post-regeneration scenes. The post is very, ooh, who's this mysterious man? And the pre is very much quite scary, if you think about it. The way he just sort of disappears and gets sent into exile. It's pretty cool. And quite honestly, I really like it. But I mean, not as much as the top 11, so what does that tell you? I don't really know. Number 11 is 4 to 5. as I said probably previously, I prefer things being in a sort of natural order and how things work. And like, I get it, the first Doctor's regeneration was a flash of light and gone. You don't see the second Doctor's regeneration. Third Doctor's is a pure just morph. But 4 to 5 was just weird. I've had this character called the Watcher. I haven't watched that season, so I don't really know the story of the Watcher, whether it was some sort of big plot reveal or whatever, but he just sort of gets himself cocooned, and then he comes out of the cocoon as Peter Davison. Just felt a bit weird, that's all for me. I just thought it was a bit odd. I wasn't so keen on that as a regeneration, and it's just, it was a little bit weird. The pre-regeneration scene is amazing, like, Tom Baker's really relaxed and sort of happy about it, and he's sort of passing the torch on. Peter Davison just does a really goofy smile as he wakes up, and that's it. And you get some typical Doctor Who music in the background. But yeah, there you go. In 10th place we have 3 to 4. Now, I quite like 3 to 4, but me growing up with the revived series, the New Who, I do prefer special effects. I love special effects in terms of the way they're done, and looking at that. And the new Regenerations are, for me, the definitive way of a regeneration, like how they should look and what. Oh Christ! the new edition. I shouldn't be complaining because that means that means it's just got a new subscriber. But in terms of like how it's done, I'm a very I like the modern edition, where it's just flames and it just feels like everything's burning off and revealing someone else underneath. I really quite like that. So, as much as I really think this is an alright regeneration scene, the pre-regeneration scene's amazing, the post is, well, there's nothing really there, he just sort of sits there asleep. But the pre-regeneration scene's really sad, and it's great, and Elizabeth, Sarah Jane's the character, Elizabeth Sladen does an excellent job sort of being emotional in that scene. It was great. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I'm glad they did it that way, because it was the first proper regeneration scene. You know, the first one was just a test. They had to keep the series going, and they wanted to see if people would still stick with the series, so they just did a flash of light and then the next person was there. The second one, just nothing. It just wasn't a regeneration. But this one is the first proper one, the first proper face morph, the first proper look at a good regeneration, and I think it's an interesting one. It probably would look better nowadays with special effects and stuff, but I don't know, I quite like it how it is. But you never know, I might make myself a sort of remastered regeneration thing in special effects down the line, because I've started doing them recently and I quite like it, so I might do one. In 9th place we have 1 to 2. I quite like this one, but it's, you know, mainly because of its like nostalgia and classic and sort of back in the day type thing. But all it is just a flash of light. The pre-regeneration scene's awful. William Hartnell doesn't really get to sum up his character and finish his era off, mainly because it was just a test. Like they kicked him out and they wanted to get the next person on. They wanted to keep the show rolling, and they wanted to see how much longer they could keep this show up. You know, if they knew it would be the success that it is today, then maybe William Hartnell might have got a few more lines in. Maybe he would have been allowed to try a little bit more. And I think William Hartnell was ill at the time, wasn't he? He wasn't very well. He was old as well for his time as well. He wasn't right mentally. So I feel like the way they did it was, you know, acceptable, but you know, you can't compare it to more modern ones. So that's why it's sitting nicely in a sort of almost central position. In 8th place is War Doctor to 9th Doctor. Now, the reason I don't like this is mainly because Christopher Eccleston didn't appear for the shoot. If he was here and had a post-generation scene, that would be amazing, but I feel like we're missing out on this big chunk of like what could have been. I know they're releasing the novelisation soon, but it's not the same thing. I don't count external media as my actual judgment and ranking on this list. I'm counting what we saw in the episode. And for this, I thought it was a bit disappointing, a little bit, but you know, it's still nice. The pre-regeneration scene, the actual regeneration effects look great. It's, you know, it's still exciting to see a regeneration. But if you want to see a proper remastered regeneration, OLIVERCOMET, I will play a little bit of that now, and I'll link it in the description. Brilliant YouTuber, brilliant special effects person, and an absolutely amazing video. I personally consider this video and this regeneration to be canon in my eyes. Like, I have my own view of what's canonical to me, and I think this is canonical to me. If this was in Day of the Doctor, I'd be happy with that. It pretty much just shows John Hurt regenerate into Christopher Eccleston, and Christopher Eccleston superimposed into the War Doctor TARDIS, and the War Doctor TARDIS sort of unravels into the Tennant TARDIS and Eccleston TARDIS, and it just, with the music, it feels perfect and right, and it's all gives you the feels, and I quite like that with that version. So if you want to go check that out, please do go. He's a great man. Go subscribe to him. Go do whatever, because he's great, and that piece is unbelievably talented. I absolutely love it. But based off its own original thing, in Day of the Doctor, it's 8th place. Number 7 is the 11th to 12th. Not so keen on this one, mainly because it's just a sneeze. I'm not counting the tower scene where he belts out a big speech and then regenerates. That would have been great. But personally, I just don't really like the actual regeneration. The pre-scene is amazing. The post is pretty good. You know, the only thing that holds me off a little bit is the just sneeze. It's just a sneeze. You know, they haven't even put enough footage in there for us to be able to edit it properly. Like, the ones that are on YouTube do look a bit weird and don't really fit that well. But, I don't know, I quite like the way this is done, but not too much. It's sort of a weird mix. Like, I love Matt Smith, and I was bawling my eyes out because I love Matt Smith, and I thought it was a great scene to end on. It was very him. It summed up his character really well. But the sneeze, the regeneration itself, was just crap, and I thought they could have done a lot better with that. I don't know if it was Stephen Moffat going, "Ooh, let's do a little bit like that, and then it'll be quirky and fun," but it wasn't. It was just annoying because it doesn't fit with any of the other modern ones. At number 6, we have 10 to 10. Yeah, you're probably wondering why there was 14 on the list, and we've not got 14 Doctors. The 10 to 10 I'm counting as a regeneration because Matt Smith mentioned it in Time of the Doctor as official, and regeneration, you know, he had, you know, whatever, and he regenerated into himself in the Stolen Earth and Journey's End. So I count this on the list, mainly because it's actually better than quite a lot of them. I think this is better than the 11th to 12th Doctor regeneration, honestly, mainly because the suspense and surprise. It was a big ending, like, oh my god, is he regenerating? Holy crap, that's amazing, right? And then all of a sudden he's left on a cliffhanger. Wow, who's it going to be? What's going to happen? And then it gets solved in the next one. The pre and post, the pre-scene is amazing. The meet up with Rose after all this time, everything like that works so well. The cliffhanger of the regeneration has never been done before, and probably will never be done again unless Chris Chibnall decides to throw a curveball in there. But I quite like it. I really like the way they did it. They didn't hint at it in the trailers. They didn't put it in the trailers. They didn't put it anywhere. It just happened, and that is, honestly, I don't know whether people leaked it online or whatever beforehand, because I didn't have Twitter back then. It was 2008. I would have been 7 years old. But sitting in front of the TV, I have vivid memories of going, what? No way. He's gonna regenerate to the next Doctor already? What? You know? I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I love that, and I have vivid memories of that. So mainly for pure nostalgia, and just the way it was done, the music, the build-up, everything was so perfect. In 5th place is my final classic entry. I love this so much. It's the 5th to 6th Doctor's regeneration. The sort of faces swerving around the 5th Doctor's face, and it slowly goes into the time vortex, the Master's telling them to die. It's classic, and it's one of them things that parodies and stuff pick up on. When people depict Doctor Who in like cartoon sketches or something like that, they depict him with a scarf and a hat. But if they're doing a regeneration, they will more than likely do this regeneration with the head swirling around. Doctor, Doctor, Doctor. You know, it's great, and it's a very memorable scene. Like, you watch it and you go, oh yeah, it's great that. And when you hear it, you're like, oh yes, yes, there's the 5th Doctor regeneration. It's classic. It's absolutely classic, and I absolutely adore that to bits. It's great. In 4th place, we have the 8th Doctor to the War Doctor. Now, mainly because I count the entire pre and post regeneration scene as the entire section that is Night of the Doctor. It's brilliant. What a brilliant piece and addition to Doctor Who canon. Having Paul McGann finally have his regeneration scene. Like, when this appeared on YouTube, I was like, what? No way. And then we saw the actual regeneration. Didn't see a face morph because obviously it was regenerating to a young John Hurt. But in terms of what we got, like, wow, it was amazing. It was dramatic. It reintroduced the Sisterhood of Khan from the classic series, and it sort of brought in some things. It made a few little Big Finish nods canon with the mention of some companions. I don't know, I just really like it, and I think it works so well for his character, and it made me actually, and it still holds me to this day, for still wanting a Paul McGann Doctor Who spin-off series. Like, we don't want Class, we don't want Sarah Jane or Torchwood, we want a Paul McGann spin-off series. Well, I do anyway, and a lot of other people do, so just, please do it. Please just pick up on it and do it. In 3rd place, we have the 9th to 10th Doctor's regeneration. Nothing too special with this one. It's just emotional, but right. You know, he's not breaking down in tears. He's not kicking off. He's not angry or annoyed. He's not emotionless, but he's how he was as a Doctor. The Ninth Doctor was a very sort of optimistic and jokey Doctor as well. It's a little bit dark, and the dark side's all gone in this scene where he's speaking to Rose, because she doesn't know what's going on. He's never told her before. Like in Capaldi's last series, they hinted it throughout, sort of, Regeneration, then he burst into flames on one of the episodes, Lie of the Land. But this one, it was never mentioned before, and then suddenly, bang, he's David Tennant. And imagine the actual stress for Rose at that point. Must have been like, what is going on here? Like, that's pretty good. And if you can push that onto a scene like that, it was just really well done. The special effects were the first to use the sort of fiery effects, which I obviously adore, so that's going to get an extra credit. Everything really just works about this. The Children in Need scene with David Tennant, like post-Regeneration, is a bit cringeworthy and a little bit awkward to watch, but I don't count that really. I just sort of think about the actual Regeneration scene at the end of Parting of the Ways, and I think it works so well in terms of the Doctor and how you're doing it and how they've modernised it and how it just works. I really like it, and I'll still always remember that as my first Regeneration. When that first happened, I was like, what is going on here? What? It was great. It was a lot of fun. In second place, we have the 12th to 13th Doctor. Now, nothing necessarily bad about this one. Like, the entire, like, you know, I count pre-Regeneration scene as he's already dead. He or she is already dead and is slowly regenerating. But Peter Capaldi died, like, in the beginning of the Doctor Falls. Or, well, as some rumours suggest, like, an extremis. But if you count it from the beginning of Doctor Falls, that's a long pre-Regeneration scene. So I'm just going to count his speech. The pre-Regeneration scene is let down by the Doctor's speech. It goes on for way too long. He just drags it out, and I think that's a little bit awkward and annoying, and I'm not the biggest fan of the long, dragged-out speech. The Regeneration itself is crap. I'm not so keen on it. It less of the fire effect, and they've used more like a big orange laser, and it just looks weird and wrong in a way. I wasn't so keen on it in the trailer. I thought they'd update it for the actual episode, but no, not really. It's the first Doctor, like, modern-wise, that I've watched for the Regenerate for the first time and actually not cried. I mean, to be fair, I am 16, so, you know, it's a given that I shouldn't, but I didn't feel any emotion, really. I felt emotion throughout the episode and stuff, and throughout the Doctor Falls, but not in the end of this scene. I think it's just, his inspirational speech didn't really seem very inspirational. But the reason it's second place, I'm not going to slate it all day, the reason it is second place is because of the post-Regeneration scene. Rachel Talalay, you are spectacular. Oh my god, what a way to introduce a Doctor. The mysterious build-up, the classic Ninth Doctor music, the dropping of the ring on the floor, the look on Jodie Whittaker's face as she looks in the TARDIS reflection. Oh, brilliant. 2 words, and then she's dropped out the TARDIS. The final shot is of her falling towards Earth, and I love it. I love it so much. I love the way. I'm honestly, I'm still excited for Series 11, as you all know, by the constant stream of uploads I've been putting out recently. I'm unbelievably excited for Jodie Whittaker's era to start. But anyway, in terms of that, I think it's great, and I love the episode, and I love the ending, but there's a few little pointers that I don't like about it, which puts it slightly behind my top spot, which is obviously 10th Doctor to 11th Doctor. Oh god, what an emotional rollercoaster this is. Ignoring my pain towards the end of time itself, the amount of things that they did wrong usually counteract this Regeneration, but thinking about just Regeneration, the song was emotional, the 10th Doctor was almost crying, actually he was crying. And he stands up on the TARDIS, the music's emotional, he's flying above the Earth, and the special effects here, to me, look the best they've done in modern era Who. I think they went downhill after this, because Matt Smith's was a sneeze, obviously, so you don't really get to see much of that, but Peter Capaldi's was like lasers, and I think it wasn't as good as this. I think this is how it should be. The fiery Regeneration looked great. I really, really loved seeing that. And it was probably the best it's looked in the modern era, as I said. But the emotion behind it, David Tennant actually like properly almost breaking down before the actual burst into Regeneration. The TARDIS is on fire. You know, like when Capaldi regenerated, like the TARDIS got buggered up, but it wasn't on fire. Like he broke everything. Not just like the central column, but like the bits on the side, the coral girders and stuff fell onto the floor. The whole thing was on fire. and the 11th Doctor was left in a bit of a mess to start out with, but his first few lines got really into his character, and I really, even today, I get a feel for, like, that's what the 11th Doctor's character is like. Oh, the sort of quirky jumpiness and all that sort of thing. It works well for me, and I quite like that. It's a nice passover to another era. That's why it's my favourite generation. I love it. Anyway, I've been going on for a while now, so tell me what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you have a like. I'd love to hear what you all think about this. What's your favourite, what's your least favourite, or just tell me all 14. It's absolutely your choice. Tell me that in the comments. I read all of them. I might not reply to all of them, but I do read all of them when I can. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, yes, subscribe if you haven't already. We're almost way past, like, I don't know where we're going at the moment, just towards 3,000 as quickly as we can, I suppose. But yeah, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If you want to be updated on stuff, follow my Twitter in the description below, or keep your notifications on if you want to see stuff from the community tab. And that's pretty much about it. Have a lovely day, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye!